Yes, man.
Yes, man. Yes, woman.
Yes. Now we're appropriate.
Yes.
We're perfectly appropriate.
Before we were making noises and dropping loads.
Yeah, you just got to get it out of your
You
system.
just got to drop it out.
Yeah,
Get it out.
Sometimes you just need to make a loud sound that's inappropriate and kind of annoying. That's not even that bad.
That's dragon breath.
That's some like yoga class, like that's appropriate stuff. Yeah, but sometimes you need to just like scream like you just had like the biggest orgasm of your life.
Yeah, just
to see how it sounds, to see what it releases. But here we are. We're back. We're back at it again.
Yes.
We can't stop doing it.
Can't stop doing it. Won't stop.
Yes.
Still not sure how to get into a podcast. We just, every week it's like, okay, how do we get into this though?
I never question that.
Well,
it just happens.
Well, you don't question it because you always start it, but sometimes you're like, okay, Cass, you start. And I'm like, okay.
How do you get out of this thing is a bigger question.
I just say, I gotta pee. I'm out of here.
Oh, I mean in general. I mean, we set something in motion like 12 years ago now that is like we're beholden to.
No, I think there's like a number we'll get to that we're like, that's enough.
Yeah.
1,000 episodes, we're good.
1,000 episodes, holy shit.
That's how it felt like with the Come Up, the morning show we did. 5 days a week morning show.
Psychedelic morning show, 5 days a week.
Great concept.
Yeah, great concept, great name. I would say even stellar execution.
Yes, yeah, it was great. It was
if you want to be driven crazy by your projects, that's a good one. Have something where you have to put something out every day.
Mm-hmm. Well, so we got to 100 episodes and we're like, all right, that's good. That's great.
It's a lot of episodes.
That's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, that's a lot of weeks.
And what do you think it would be with the podcast? We just get to like 1,000 and be like, all right, 500, 500.
Maybe in the 500 area, it would start to feel like the itch has been scratched.
Yeah.
Like we've done this. We did it.
We did it.
I never really set out to had. I'd never had an amount of podcasts in mind when we started this. It just felt like something that we could do to keep us occupied and somewhat sharp between films. And I think it's had the opposite effect. No. No, it's good for us. It's it keeps me processing things in a different way, and even just as things are happening.
Are you processing anything this week?
Not really. I don't know. I think we're having a good time. I think we're really, really easing into the summer. The weather is being the same way. Like, it feels like it's about to be summer, but it's not. So we're just easing and just really dipping our toe into the waters. Like, I think we know the shape of our summer is going to be really peaking out in August. And so let's ease on into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
We did, last weekend was your birthday. And one of the nights we took these mushroom molly microdoses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my Lord. I think you have done it and talked about it on here a few weeks ago, briefly.
Yeah, maybe, but it's awesome. So we had a friend who was like, Molly and mushrooms is the best. And we're like, we've never done it.
Yeah.
And
then the hippie flip is like such a classic.
Classic. But we didn't do that big of a dose. I'd like to up my dose. I'd like to go a little harder.
Well, that's actually what I was going to say about easing into things. Is like, what the heck was I doing taking more Molly than that ever before?
Oh, because you felt like you had like a full experience still?
I felt, well, like... I mean, what is a full experience? I don't even know. Like, what am I going to get some profound insight about the way I've been, or this or that? Like, I mean, maybe at this stage.
I think a good dose is like you just couldn't eat. You're just like beaming and exploding with love, and you're like, I don't even think I could love anything any more than I love it right now.
Yeah, that's a good dose. Well, I feel like I tapped into that on just 30 milligrams. So I'm like, I was overdosing my system before.
I think with
even
the
though
mushrooms,
I loved it, but I overdosed my system.
I think they say like 70 milligrams is the active dose for MDMA, but I think with mushrooms maybe less is good. Less is works out.
I'm here to tell you for sure. Like, yeah, less is more in this case. Because I'm, you know how I am. Like, I'll only take Molly like once or twice a year because it's like, it's a big experience. It feels so good, but it also is like, it feels like you could be borrowing from other parts of your future. And like, I don't know. I just don't want to get like too karmically entrapped with the vibration of Molly. It feels like too tempting, low-hanging, over-ripened fruit for a guy that's like 43 who's actually trying to like become a better person. So I don't want to overuse it at this stage of my life. We've done it. We've done it a lot. I know what those nights are. And I know how sacred they are. But to be able to tap on into that without all the consequences, damn. I feel like I'm getting into something new here.
Oh yeah, because we like to pretend like there's not a letdown Tuesday or suicide Tuesday as they call it or whatever, where you're having a hard time. But the
Well,
truth is,
that's based on people taking way too much Molly on a Saturday night, and by Tuesday it really catches up to you with your serotonin
yeah,
being existent.
and there is something to it. You can kind of like take certain supplements to ease it out, but there is something to being like a little depleted. It's just part of the thing. But if you take less, you don't deplete yourself as much, and then you're like, you can cruise on through.
Yeah, and I felt like I had access to all the things I want access to on drugs without the steep barrier to entry. Because to me, it's just like, well, like I took it and then we went for a walk, and I'm like, oh, by the time this walk's over, I'm gonna have to fucking get in the fetal position, you know, really take my medicine and get normal before I even present myself. But it was so smooth.
I mean, you did like a half gram of mushrooms.
I'm telling you, you don't, like, as a guy that sat on here and talked about taking soma and toad and ayahuasca, countless acid trips, mushroom trips, Molly, candy flips, fucking thruples, all that stuff. Maybe less is more at this stage. Maybe like just the essence of Molly being introduced into my system is enough. It's like it's enough of a reminder because my system is already kind of done processing with this medicine.
Yeah, it's just like the hint reminder.
Yeah.
It's a homeopathic at this point.
Yeah. Well, I felt like it gave me access to my favorite parts of Molly and mushrooms. Like my favorite part of mushrooms is like 3 or 4 hours into a big dose when you're like, I'm used to this and I'm in on the cosmic joke and I can speak to it. And you're just cracking yourself and your friends up. Like that's my favorite part of a mushroom journey. And my favorite part of Molly is like you were saying, like just the love, like the conditions on your love just come down and it's available for people. And that's really sweet. That's a sweet offering for yourself. So you can remind yourself of how sweet and loving you are, but it's also a good reminder for your friends. So I feel like I got the best of both those things without like overdoing it, without missing any sleep. That's what it all comes down to. That's my life now. That's how old I am. I'm like, I'll do anything. I'm down for anything. I'm not looking to miss nights of sleep. I'm not looking to even miss hours of sleep within those nights. Like it really needs to be smooth sailing.
You were talking to me about doing an all-nighter, though, the other day. You were like, maybe we'll do an all-nighter.
Well, we were talking about, because we did a big mushroom trip in the cemetery on Halloween. And I'm like, do we have a flip side of that? Where we're doing it in like the summer, but with acid. And I'm like, well, it's not as fun when it's so light out. So we'd have to start our journey at like 8 at night. I'm like, maybe we have it in us. That we used to do that all the time. A friend would come over. We'd be like, cool, we're taking acid tonight. We'll take it at 8 or 9 p.m. and just stay up all night without even thinking about it for a second. Don't even question it. We're just like, of course we're pulling an all-nighter. This is going to be so fun. You're watching the sun come up over the city. It's beautiful.
They say all-nighters are bad for you, but I think doing no all-nighters is also bad for you because you really do need to tap into the other side.
Yes.
You know, when everything's quiet and maybe more accessible in the ethereal realm or something.
Yeah, it's a good thing to know about, you know.
And just to experience life. It's like hiking a mountain, you have a different perspective. You get to the top of your mountain and you're like, wow, there's my town.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, I've never seen it from up here.
But that's basically why I was kind of suggesting and agreeing to it. And look, it was still going to be based on like, we're going to sleep right after. We're still going to get our sleep, but we're going to stay up all night. We're going to just skew it where, yeah, we technically miss a night of sleep, but we're not going to miss our sleep. But I think it's like you're saying, it's good for your system.
It's important. It's important for your soul. It's
Yeah.
soul work. You got to do the soul work too.
Sometimes the body has to get out of the way and let the soul just like have at it.
Yeah.
And that would be one of those things. Yeah.
You seen the sunrise after you'd spent the night, after you've been up all night? There's something to it.
Yeah, we've had those nights.
Yeah, a bunch of them.
Yeah, we've also had like the opposite where we're so damn responsible where we're like, let's wake up and watch the sunrise. And we set a little alarm and we wake up and do it.
That's cute too. I swear one day we will switch. I'm like waiting for the day that switches where you're like a sunrise person, and it's gonna be like I'm gonna have no choice but to join you in this flipped reality. You know, when there's like old men and they're like, I get up at the crack of dawn.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be you one day, and I'm gonna have to do it
It'll
too.
be when I'm past my substance abuse era. I have a feeling. Because, I mean, even when I talk about substance abuse, like, this is what I'm talking about at this point. Caffeine and weed. But it's a train. And it's a train that once you get on, there's a certain inertia around your being and your life. And it's hard to get off of it without, like, rehabilitation time. Without time. So, you know, when I wake up and I'm like, oh gosh, I feel like I barely get my day started. And like I do exercise and it gets me going a little bit. But like when I take a sip of this, everything comes to life and I'm like, oh, I'm a human being. And then 20 minutes later, I'm like, give me fucking weed. This is crazy. What is this feeling?
You should join me in the green tea lifestyle.
There's green tea in here.
Okay, well.
I put green tea and black tea.
I think the biggest life hack I've ever realized is that caffeine's too much. Like a lot of the work that I have, and I think a lot of people have, is sitting at a computer and checking stuff off your list. I swear to God, with caffeine, like a coffee or black tea, I'm going too fast
to do that stuff.
Like the work that I do requires a calmness. Like sometimes my best work days are like I wake up and I'm like, all right, let's do a chamomile tea. Because it's like slow and steady. Slow and steady is where you can actually just accomplish things. You're like, okay.
It's also what we want pretty much everything that you and I do to be imbued with.
Yeah.
The slow and steady stamp of Churchill approval. It should feel that way. Everything we do, every email, every text should feel imbued with that. And like, yeah, caffeine's a fast-moving train. But it's, you know, actually, this is similar to what I was just saying about Molly. When you microdose it, there's something to it. I'm not completely sure about it, but I feel like that's what I do compared to most people. I'll make a caffeinated brew and I'll drink it throughout a whole day.
Yeah, Henry Rollins turned us onto that. He would drink a coffee and he'd like sip it throughout the day. And we're like,
yeah, a little tiny cup of espresso, and he'll just take little sips of it throughout a 12-hour day. But he also doesn't eat until he performs. He doesn't perform till 9 p.m. So he has his first meal at like 11 p.m.
Yeah,
and that's it. He just has one meal, and then he passes out, gets up, goes to the gym all day, writes, performs, and just repeat the task and just keep staying on the road.
I think everyone has their own prescription, and that's kind of the beautiful thing. It's like whatever works for you. But I think what I'm trying to say is what you think works for you might not actually be working for you, because you get in this headspace where you're like, I need coffee in order to function. But then you might be like pushing yourself. You might be revving you might be out of gear. The thing is, you know when you're driving stick? I don't know how many people drive stick anymore, but it's like you can hear it when you need to shift gears.
Oh, man. I always say this when we're hanging out with Joey for any amount of time. Like, I can hear his transmission stuck in the wrong gear because he drinks coffee. And it's so funny how it manifests. Like, he gets up and, like, the first thing he needs to do is put coffee in his system. And that's most people. But with Joey, I watch him go from like a normal person to a guy that is like struggling with IBS and is bouncing off the walls bonkers and needs to call people for like 3 hours. And then it's like, and I'm like, why did you just put yourself through that? Why are you doing that to your body and like, your friends?
Oh my God, we dated a woman who would drink coffee, and it was so intense that we had to be like, this is not sustainable.
We didn't do it. I did.
Okay, I don't say shit.
did it.
Because I don't
No,
say shit
you-
to people about what they do.
What are you
besides
kidding
you.
me? What are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You would be normally the first person to say something like that, but you wouldn't do it in the confrontational way I would do. You would do it in the like, well, maybe coffee's not serving you. You know, I'm like, no more fucking coffee, or I can't do this anymore. I'm dealing with a version of you that is in a fucking good mood for like 40 minutes, and then you're crashing for hours, and it's a crazy thing to do. You know.
No, yeah, truly, it is a crazy drug.
That's how I first tapped into all of this stuff we're talking about now. Is witnessing it on somebody else and then being like, well, I must have my version of that. And now I'm so painfully aware of the peaks and valleys that I ride throughout a day. I'm so aware of what causes them. I'm so, just like way too on all of that stuff in terms of my inner conversation. Like, I know. And I still do it.
It's funny because I'm like sensitive to you, but I don't really think about what you do at all. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're like one of those people who like you drank, but when you drank, I couldn't really tell the difference.
Yeah.
And I'm as someone who like is super sensitive to alcohol and like can't stand it or can't stand what it brings out in people for the most part. You never really bothered me. You never bothered, except when you're like lying on the floor puking. I'm like,
yeah, but that's not bothering you. That's like a pathetic person.
yeah.
Yeah. And how many times have you seen me like that in 15 years?
Twice, 3 times.
Yeah. 2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times.
How many times do you think I've seen you like that?
5 or 6.
Yeah.
Is that what you would say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure there's times where you and I were both like shitty together.
Yes, we have video evidence somewhere.
Yeah, we have this fucking video. I don't even know what we were doing, just wandering around Seattle. Going and hanging out with whoever. We just had a night where we went to a bar and we were shooting pool and drinking. And then there was no one at this bar. And it was like 8 p.m. on a Friday night. And I was like, I just think we're on the wrong side of town or something. And some babe walked in, and I don't know why. Obviously we were drinking, and we just started chirping her up right away. And she's like, y'all should come with me to this like house party that's going on. There's bands playing. And we're like, fuck yeah. We just like got in a cab with her and went to like a punk house. And I was like, oh, this is our scene. This is our scene. And they got a keg going. There's beers flying everywhere. There's bands playing. You and I were rocking out. And I think we just got inappropriately hammered. Then we went out to another bar from that place and ended up in do you remember this? That we ended up at like a trans person's
And this was like in 2010 or something.
Yeah,
2011
or 12. Like we were back at a trans person's like what do you call it? Like a hostel?
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't even know that these existed. And like next thing you know, like we're in like a hostel with like bunk beds and stuff. And she's like, yeah, this one's mine. And it was like, we're just hanging out with a few people. And like the night just became a complete blackout for me after that. And we just have a video of us showing back up at the hotel, like filling up an ice bucket and throwing it all over the place. And like just being crazy, like versions of us that like I can't even unless we had that video, I would never be able to tap into like, whoa, that's what we're like when we're shitty.
Well, that's the video is definitely, otherwise you wouldn't remember it. And we have a concert that it's not until September, but I'm like really looking forward to it.
Viagra Boys, September 25th,
Yeah,
Brooklyn Mirage.
I'm very excited because I really like their new album and I like all their songs, whatever. And I'm like, I want to go hard, but I don't want to go so hard that it's blurry.
Yeah.
And that the whole night is like in snapshots. Like I want to feel it.
Mm.
So I think the way to really feel a night is to slow it down and distort time with LSD.
Yeah, but it's a fucking really precarious thread to needle the thread on that one.
Well, because I'm like, I got to have the come up somewhere. For it to be like a really great time,
Yeah.
I got to like really have a gnarly come
There's
up.
going to be a come up.
I have to have the gnarliest, for me to have the best night, I have to have the gnarliest come up. So it's like, where am I going to do that?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I don't want to just be in a car. I got to be in a park, but I just,
There's no great place to do it, to tell you the truth. There's really no great way of going about this. It's going to be uncomfortable.
We hung out in Central Park the other day, and I was like, I could have a come up here.
Oh, that's true. The only thing is like, I had to pee so bad. And there was just like, I could see, we were up on a hill. I was like, there's nowhere to go here. There's nowhere to even hide.
There are parks that have bathrooms in the city, but like New York is one of those places that is like slowly but surely removing every trash can.
Yeah.
And I see that people are like just throwing garbage into postal boxes at this point because it's become so crazy. You need facilities.
Yeah.
And trash things for people. Gotta keep this civil.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that would require.
What else are taxes for than for us to be able to piss shit and get rid of our garbage?
I know. Well, I mean, I feel like our taxes should be going towards trying to have our citizenry live more dignified lives.
You'd think.
And, is there anything less dignified than like not having a home or a bathroom to go to?
I mean, it hurts everybody.
It hurts everybody. I mean, it just really, it makes the optics of every fucking city in this country a disaster. Every city in this country is a disaster.
There should be like free showers and bathrooms, like a lot of them.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't even think this is groundbreaking, but it's worth noting that's part of our values, especially when we're like looking for a place to like just publicly get fucked up and then go into Viagra Boys show like perfectly peaked. Very hard thing to do.
Life is like, you need to pay for this experience. You need to pay them $1,000 to let them stay at your thing.
I was trying to think of like a situation. I'm like, have we ever actually done this right? Have we ever been like fucking peaking on acid while a band's playing? And I'm like, the only time it's happened was when we went and saw Devo and Ween and Parquet Courts at Desert Days that day. And we took a proper dose and like had our come up like in a field while bands were playing. And I remember I couldn't stand up. I couldn't do anything. And then Parquet Courts started playing. And I was like, I'm about to have the fucking best day of my life. And it was. Parquet Courts, right into Devo, right into Ween. And right before Ween played, we put some Molly in the mix. But that said, like the reason we were able to nail that is because we didn't have to go anywhere. We didn't have to figure out how to transport ourselves. And I've tried.
That's why people do festivals and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You don't have to worry about a thing. It's just like, we're here. I just got to figure out how to get back to that tent or whatever.
On my birthday weekend, we were going to go to this like nearby kind of very low-key chill festival. And we both really wanted to go, and we thought like, oh, this will be really nice just to go into doing something just the two of us. And turns out we're total pussies. And
yeah, not total. We err towards that.
We err towards it. We're like, oh, there might be a little rain. And also, I think we just think like, oh, it'd be nice to travel light and not have to worry about anyone, and that would be cool. But then it's like we in particular like to go as a little vibe tribe.
Yeah.
And like we just feel like
I need a crowd of people. I can't face them day to day.
Yeah, thank you, Neil.
The little Neil Young there. Yeah, that's kind of how it feels. Like when you and I are like, all right, us two, yeah, we'll just go to a festival on our own. It'll be a better time than when we go with people because like
we don't have to worry about anybody.
We don't have to think about
whatever we want.
But worrying about everybody and thinking about what they're up to and all that stuff is kind of who we are and what we're all about.
Yeah, it's what makes it have purpose.
Yeah, so we didn't have that built-in purpose to get to this thing that's just an hour away. It's all these Grateful Dead cover bands. It's like the website is dope. It's called Froggy Days. I think they're doing it again. so we might do it later this year. But I don't know. To me, all I had to do was picture us like being cold. And I was like, I don't want to do that to my girl on her birthday weekend. Like I don't want you to be cold.
I think if you haven't it's like with camping, you got to break the seal of the year. You know.
Yes.
Get your gear out, and it's a big. It can kind of feel like a big thing. You're like, all right.
Yeah.
You got to hype yourself up.
Yeah. We're gonna get into it though.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, trying to get your substances right for when the band goes on. Tough one. I remember trying to do it. The second time we ever saw Dead and Company was fall of 2017, I think. November 2017.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to see a Dead and Company show. And we were kind of like on the fence whether we were Dead and Company people. I think I still am on the fence about that. I've seen him 10 times. But, you know, I don't think we ever regret it. But this show, we were like... I mean, it was when I was just like falling in love with the Grateful Dead. It's like all I was listening to, all we were listening to. It was our life. So we were like, hey, there's a celebration of that going on at Madison Square Garden. We should go to that tonight. And we got tickets, and we were with our girl Mara at the time. And we're like, let's do this right. So at like 4 or 5 p.m., we took a couple of tabs of acid, and we're like, yeah, cool. We'll have our come up, and then we'll go to the show together. And we
cut it a little close. You can cut it a little close. That's why I'm like, I need to be on hour 8 of a trip.
We were trying to get over there around hour 4 or 5, and it was like disaster, at least from my perspective. I don't know what it was like from your perspective, but like the second we started talking about leaving the womb that we had created, I was like I could already feel my nervous system like doing the like stomach things and like just all the stuff that's your worst nightmare.
Yeah.
And so we go out and like we're tripping balls. Like we really, really, really should either just be at the concert or at home, and we're gonna have to do this whole navigation of the in between. And I was wearing a skeleton costume. And I remember we were just like wandering around the streets, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And then we went down into the subways, and I was really getting a terrible feeling about being down there. I was like...
Well, New York City subways are not like super known for being super clean or welcoming or whatever. Like if you're on a lot of acid, you're just like, what the fuck
Yeah,
is
you just
this?
like go down there, and you just hear this just like humming drone, scuttling rats, little...
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, remember, it's like some Spanish he only spoke Spanish. Like this little guy comes up to me, and he's like looking at me and like saying all of this stuff like in like rapid, like high frequency
like
Spanish.
You need to know this.
Like you need to know. Like I've come to tell you. You need to know. And I'm just standing there like, what the fuck is going on? And then like the subway comes, and that guy gets on there, and like we just couldn't get on. And I was like, I can't do this, guys. Like I thought we were about to like not be able to go to the concert. I was just like, well, the world is like overwhelming. Why are people coming up to me? I know I'm wearing a skeleton suit.
Yeah, you ask for attention, then you get it, and you're like, what?
Yeah, I did not want the attention I was getting. And then luckily we just like slipped into a cab, and I just took the whole cab ride to Manhattan with my head out the window like a dog, like just trying to get air and brake dust and all that stuff. Just like, I just need the fresh brake dust. And then we got there, and I was fine.
That's when I lost it.
Yeah. You were like, let's get out of here. We did. We left like shortly into set 2.
Try to keep it fun and funny.
It just wasn't fun and funny.
I had a great time. I had like baptism of tears. It was a good experience, but you're like, okay.
You got while the gotten was good.
Yeah, when someone's like behind you spilling beer on you, you're like, I gotta go.
Yeah, and it's also like the way where our seats were like is right where the people come in, so there's just like light pouring in and like a security guard there, and it's just like you're just aware.
I'm one of those people who like will not get seats unless they're on the aisle.
Yeah.
What is that about?
I think it's a good idea.
I don't. It's not even that I'm like. I just like it. It just feels like it's. I just don't want to. Yeah, I'm always that person. I'm like, we're gonna just. Even if I'm like really far, we'll be far back, but we're gonna be on the aisle.
Yeah, if we have to have seats, and nowadays when we're general admission, we'll either get there early enough to get a great spot, or if not, man, Cass will just lead the way through a crowd until we get to the best spot. And it's kind of perfect, like following a little girl into the crowd.
I'm not that little either.
No, but it's kind of the perfect. If it was me, like holding your hand, like, come on, I'll take you up to the front.
Oh.
It's just like dudes are gonna start. Trust me, little elbow titting, putting their fucking shoulder into
The way
you.
you do it is you have in your mind, I'm looking for my friend who's up here.
That's
how you do it. You just are like, okay, I have a friend who's up there.
Yeah, and you're just like looking around, and like inevitably, it's always 10 rows back. There's like a patch where like nobody's standing here. What the fuck?
Yeah, and then you find a spot that there's a space, and you just go into it.
Stand in front of the shortest.
I don't even
like
act like I'm looking for anything. I just know I just have that confidence of like, I could be going to the front because I'm looking for someone else.
Or I was already here.
What do you know? You don't know.
Well, you
just have to have you're really good at the like blind confidence.
Yeah. Well, in these situations, you have the blind confidence, and I'm just a guy that's like, I'm following my girlfriend. Even though I don't have to act like that, that's the character I've taken on. It's just like, yeah, she wants to get closer. So, like, I have that kind of energy, and you have like, I'm looking for my friend energy, and then we just like find some place, and we're like, cool, let's do a bunch of drugs in front of people that we don't know, and we've been here for 3 seconds. Yeah. Well, but this is what I think a good way to do it, and this is how we do a lot of our best days and our best weeks, even our best years, is we reverse engineer it from like the feeling we want. And it's like, really take yourself to that moment of being at the Viagra Boys show. It's like, how do you feel? Where are you standing? All of that stuff, and like pulling it into like, what are we? We're 4 months away from this show still.
And we bought the tickets like 6 months ago.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, this isn't the only thing on our calendar. It's just for some reason the thing that's exciting us the most lately. But yeah, that's the way we do it. Is we reverse engineer it. You think
I'm
about
very
how you want to feel.
particular about my overstimulated freakouts. I do not like to be overstimulated. Unless in like a very particular way.
Unless you paid for it and Live Nation searched your pockets. And
Well, I mean, even just different types of music and stuff. Not all stimulated music is created equal in my mind, you know?
No.
Or
not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. So when you like, it's what overstimulates you? I don't understand.
I guess
because we'll go to Devo and be on acid and ketamine, like basically in a K-hole in the middle of a crowd.
Well,
it's like, you know.
Well, there's something about it being consensual. Like, I'm someone who will put earbuds in when I'm in a restaurant. That feels like you can hear people like yapping all over the place.
Oh, every movie we go to, it's like earplugs. Get this, cut off all that frequency of the nonsense conversations.
Yeah,
going
we wear
on.
sunglasses in grocery stores.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like, you know. I feel like one of those. I don't self-identify, but I can at times be a highly sensitive person.
Yeah. When you get overstimulated, you want it to be on your terms.
Yeah. I want to ask for it.
Ask, believe, receive.
Yeah.
You'll get it. So describe the moment of us at this show. How are you feeling? And we'll get there. We could figure out how to make our life point in that direction so it fucking pays off for you.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm just going to be in like a sea of it, just screaming every lyric and just...
being in a mosh pit.
I'm like someone who likes the edge of the mosh pit, kind of. And sometimes I like getting there, but I like to be like in the periphery of it. I like to like still get the energy of it, but not actually be in the mix so much.
Yeah.
No... Yeah, like I'm getting pushed and stuff, but I'm not like at risk of slipping.
Yeah.
That's the line.
Yes, yeah. I feel like I hit a good one of these when we saw NoFX on my birthday last year.
I mean, you were in the shit.
Well, yeah, but like I was like, whoa, I didn't even reverse engineer this, but I did end up in the perfect situation at the perfect time. I was like, I'm on acid and ketamine in a gigantic circle pit. That's like the size of the dance floor.
What was nice about the circle pit is it was just like, shoo. The thing is when there's a pit where people are just, like going in opposite directions. That's where people get hurt. But when everyone's just like kind of on the same
it's like
vortex,
we all want to dance and like run around and go in
a circle. And it's like if I fall, someone will pick me up and we'll just keep going in the circle. But we're not like throwing haymakers.
Yeah, every now and then you'll see someone doing that, but that's like kind of what like the donut of the pit is for, in my mind. Like if you're doing that in the vortex part, you're a fucking asshole. But the middle of it, it's like all bets are off. Do it. Throw your fists around. Do whatever. Fucking double toe touch.
Sean was showing me videos last night or yesterday of you were showing me videos of like people getting punched in the face and then like still go. I'm like, this is Fight Club. People go into the pit and it's like a Fight Club sort of situation.
Yeah, and now there's high quality slow motion videos of like these. I mean, I've had literally just countless nights of my life spent in these scenes, and now there's like a high quality slow motion video of what these kids are fucking up to, and you're like, I can't watch this, and I'm like, it's so funny. How fucking funny is it to watch some girl get kicked in the face and then pretend it didn't happen and just like keep dancing? It's like fucking incredible. And like I can only say that as the type of person that's taken my fair share of boots to the face at a show. So it's like, yeah,
it's all about the footwear, because you need something that's secure, because you don't want to be worried about losing your shoe. That's just the worst. That's why I didn't get into it in the NoFX, because I didn't have the right footwear on.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's the thing. You got to know what scene you're in and at what show you're at. I feel like at NoFX, that kind of music, like Bouncing Souls, Vandals, these kind of bands, you lose your shoe, you look around, someone's going to be holding it up.
Mm-hmm.
That's a respectful scene.
Yeah, you still don't want to lose your shoe, though.
You definitely
where there's
don't
like a bunch
lose
of beer and stuff,
and
people stepping on feet and whatever.
Yeah. Remember we came out of that one show and Jesse, like, his pants were torn off and he had one shoe and like his glasses were fucking fucked up. Like, you know, it can get really, really crazy in there, but it's like a necessary cathartic release. And I think that's the thing we're trying to reverse engineer, is like that moment you had like when you first saw Leftover Crack and they start playing and you're like, I'm going to freak out right now. And then you do, and you have the space to do it and you dance your fucking ass off. Like, I think that's what we're going for, is a like, cool, we're here. They start playing and we're just completely overcome by the music. Dancing freaks.
I'll still be wearing my earplugs, though, I'm sure.
Well, of course.
That's how you enjoy yourself, though. You're like, I'm not getting permanent ear damage right now, at least.
No, it's been a long time since I've been willing to get permanent ear damage for a band. I mean, it happens, but it's been a long time.
Yeah. You can wear earplugs that don't make it so it doesn't sound bad or muffled. It just it cuts out like certain pitches, frequencies.
Yeah.
The stuff that makes your ears ring.
Well,
for days.
You were saying, you were like, hey, we should take that pressed pill for this Viagra Boys show. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, a friend gifted us a pressed pill that he's like, all right, this is like 250 milligrams. Like, you guys should split this and you'll have a great time. And I'm like, I've never done a pressed pill.
Me neither. Never been interested.
Well, and never been offered, you know. This is the first pill anyone's ever given me. And I'm like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll wait a year and a half, but I'll do it.
It came from a trusted source.
Yeah, no, of course.
It came from someone that knows us. So you're like, maybe we should have one of these kind of nights.
It's gonna, yeah. But you're like, will it be one of those things where it just becomes such a blur? And then I think, do I want any of my nights to be a blur? I want to remember them all.
This is what gets me back to my original point about
it's
the
like,
mushroom molly microdose.
It's like, the mind erasers are for your 20s.
Yes. Yeah. When you need your mind erased, you're so cringe that you just need to have it fucking stricken from the record.
Yeah, and all you need is like a snapshot of like, I had the best time. Oh my God. Sometimes I think about reactivating my Facebook and just like realizing, I mean, just in order for the purpose of to like pull up all the pictures of me totally shit-faced.
That's all your Facebook is.
That's all it is. Me pissing in the street, me fucking having alcohol over me, everything.
Yeah, it's like that 2008 2011 like digital photography where like the flash just made everyone like there's just such a certain aesthetic.
2008 is definitely
where it's just like digital camera, flash, like people that are like look sweaty.
Oh yeah,
like just like I can picture the colors and just like those what those nights felt like and what they look like aesthetically. And that's what your Facebook is definitely filled with. It's kind of a crazy thing.
Yeah, it was like
to document and like leave out there, but that's how innocent everything was.
Well, and also it wasn't like super family oriented. Like Facebook wasn't like populated by like your aunts and uncles and stuff at that age. And then once it started to be, you're like, I probably should just get out of here because I don't feel like scrubbing my history.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have all these pictures of drunken nights or whatever, but like that's basically you being drunk on Facebook. And now your aunts and uncles are there. Would you ever want to be drunk and sloppy around them? You don't want them seeing you like that. Your friends, your peers, people you went to college with, that's one thing. Your aunts and uncles seeing you like that, like imagine being like that in a physical space with them. You would never do that. So it's like, let's deactivate this shit.
Definitely. Never looked back.
There was a hilarious post that we both saw of it from this subreddit called The Blunder Years, of these girls being like, from that era, from like 2008, they're like, we never drank or smoked or partied, and we didn't have those kind of friends. We were just best friends, but like we were jealous that other people were having those nights, so we staged a night like that. And it's like them with like an empty beer bottle and like a fucking
lampshade on their head.
Like it's like them with a bunch of poses with like lampshades on their head.
And if they hadn't shown like, if they didn't post like 20 of the photos, I would be like, one or two of these is definitely believable. Of like,
I would believe them all.
Yeah.
But if
they have like a red Solo cup and a lampshade on their head, and they're like,
there was
I'm like, every photo on my Facebook looks like that.
There was too many. They did it too many of them, and they posted too many of them. Were across the uncanny valley, where you were like, wait, is this Getty Images trying to like fool me into thinking this was a wild night out?
No,
like,
I mean the whole point of them posting it was to like
fool people.
To posting it to Reddit is to be like, look at how embarrassing we were that we thought that this was like what we did.
Wow, I don't have anything like that. Thank fucking Christ. Thank Christ Mario Kart 64 came out when it did. Like, I don't have like cringe stuff with my friends. Like we were hanging out all the other night, having some drinks around the fire late night, and some stories were coming out, but they're more glorious than cringe. Like they're hilarious.
I've seen some photos, but they were all on disposable cameras that you have of like you with like, what? Looking drunk and drunkied and sloppied.
Oh, sloppy jalopy.
Sloppy jalopy.
Trust me, I had those nights, and there's tons of pictures or whatever. But like, I'm saying like when you're in the cringe years, the blunder years. Like I don't have like, oh man, me and my cousin thought we were gonna be in a boy band, and we fucking filmed ourselves dancing. Like like we were always very aware.
I got out just in time.
I know.
Before like everyone had Instagram and TikTok and cameras and with videos and stuff. Like our cameras were all like, you have to like click a button 4 times to get to your letter.
Yeah, exactly. It shaped who we were. It shaped who we are.
There's a video of me somewhere drunk singing Avril Lavigne, but I think it was on a VHS sort of thing.
Oh, good.
It's
on a tape.
It's on a tape, never to be found again. So.
Oh yes, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I didn't even know you knew any Avril Lavigne songs.
She was my girl in high school.
She was?
Yeah.
Really?
Totally.
I don't know how I never knew this about you.
Well, you know how in high school you have like a CD player, your Discman, and you have like 4 CDs. She was one of my CDs.
Oh damn. Yeah, that dates you to a particular era.
Definitely.
I think right after her, like Molly Sirius was the big person.
I don't even know who that is. Who is that?
Billy Ray Sirius' son or daughter.
Miley Cyrus?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't get into that.
But she took over. She took over where Avril Lavigne left off, and there's probably someone currently doing that right now.
Everybody loves party in the USA, though.
Oh, is that Molly Cyrus?
Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus.
You keep fucking me up. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, those were my blunder years. Is being like 25 years old, singing karaoke 4 nights a week around New York City, just being a drunken dancing fool. You know, those are my blunder years. They happened in my mid-20s, and they weren't that well documented or well remembered. Really, it's kind of perfect.
Perfect.
It kind of perfectly led me to you, where I had some machismo about me, but I didn't have like, I hadn't left like a bunch of evidence of cringe in my wake that you could have found.
What do they call like when you stain your underwear? What are those stains called?
Skid marks.
Skid marks.
Yeah.
It wasn't a digital footprint of skid marks.
No, which is funny that you say that because one of the people that I was hanging out with doing all these shitty things with was a guy named Scott Marks who had IBS at the time, and his nickname was Skid Marks. To the point where he fully took that on. We'd call him Skid or S-Kid. Skid Marks is a fucking great one.
There's a college named Skidmore. And I was like, I can't go there because all I think of is skid marks.
Yeah. Skid Marks.
Skid marks. Skidmore. Skid marks.
Yeah. Skid marks used to be a lot more ubiquitous. I feel like when the only men's underwear you could get were like tighty whities. It's like it's all anyone had. Like so, it became like if you don't have stains in your underwear, like are you even wearing them? Yeah, exactly. And if you do,
and it was before the proliferation of
wipes
or nozzles.
Yeah.
Bidet sort of attachments.
And if you and back then in the 90s, like in the 80s, if you didn't have skid marks, if you did have them, that means the underwear were doing their job. Let's just be real.
Yeah,
that's what they're there to
extra
do.
Wipe.
Yeah, no, it's what they're there to do. It's to protect your regular clothes from whatever your body's doing.
Yeah. No, totally. Women release all sorts of stuff.
Oh, forget about it. As the person who has exclusively done the laundry of all my households, and I haven't just been with you for 15 years. Before that, I was in 2 7-year. So I've been in relationships for 29 years. Does that even make sense? Like 27, 28 years.
You watched a lot of crusty underwear.
I've watched so many women's underwear, but I'll tell you what, I have no bad memories of it or anything because I knew from day one of doing that stuff. Just don't look. Don't pay attention to it. Keep it sexy.
Sometimes it's really bad and I'm like, I should wash these before I put them in the laundry basket.
I would never notice. And if I did, I wouldn't judge. And if I did judge, I would never bring it to you. And, it's just an extension of me.
Yeah, it's just a little crust, whatever.
It's, yeah.
I used to be so paranoid about it. With you didn't get this treatment, but with my first boyfriend, I would wear panty liners because that way my underwear would always be clean. You'd remove the panty liner, and then your underwear is perfectly clean.
That's the kind of stuff that I'm fascinated by. Is like the stuff, the behaviors that women take on, and men, but really women, the behaviors they take on in the courting phase, in the I don't want to be embarrassed. Like I didn't think your legs got hairy. For like a year of knowing you and hooking up. Isn't that fucking wild? I didn't even question it. I was just like, damn, she's as smooth as they come. And then you're like, oh no, I shaved my legs every day. And I was like, damn, that was like really sweet. You didn't have to do that at all, but that's so sweet.
Now I'm like once a week, maybe. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe.
I'm sorry.
No, there's nothing to be apologetic about, but it's just funny the things people do.
I remember there was a small period where I was single, but I remember being really obsessed with whitening my teeth because I was like, no one will ever love me with how stained my teeth are.
It's crazy because you have beautiful, perfect white teeth.
There's dysmorphia happens, and you think that that's the most important thing. You think that is the separation between me and the love of my life is how white my teeth are, and if they could only be another shade whiter.
This is the stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah, right?
Yes. Yeah.
See, this is what's good about our podcast. You just got to get us talking about caffeine a little bit. They've heard that talk, and then we get into the good stuff. crusty underwear
yeah.
and teeth whitening and panty liners.
Well, just the weird little hypnotic spells that you're trying to cast on whether it's your partner or some stranger.
An unsuspecting person, you're like, I never do anything disgusting.
I'm not disgusting. I mean, I feel like that's how I am.
You are totally that way.
I'm just not disgusting. I don't know it's not like, oh, I have a new woman in my life. I better wipe my ass better. Like, I'm just like, I'm not disgusting.
You are literally the cleanest person I've ever, like, I think that the worst thing about hooking up with a guy is like, they didn't clean their fucking fingernails. But I've never seen dirty fingernails.
Or sharp ones.
Or anything. And no.
My cuticles are pushed back. I file down like everything that could be like.
You have
sharp.
The hands of a lover.
Yeah, for sure.
And sometimes I like will tell, because my girlfriends will tell me, they'll be like, oh yeah, and blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh, I've never heard Sean fart in our relationship of 15 years.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, we just don't do that stuff.
We keep it sexy.
We try to keep it sexy.
Doesn't
mean it won't. It doesn't happen. But if we do, we didn't hear it.
It's like it's as simple as this. Like, how do you keep it sexy when you've been together for 15 years and you're inseparable?
I remember my first boyfriend. I would go to the bathroom and be like, "Look at this!
Look at this dump.
This is 2 feet long."
You would show him, or he would show you.
I think I would show him. I think it was both. I think it was just,
Whoa.
you kill it really quickly. It does kill it. I probably shouldn't even be telling you this stuff.
Well, no, it's interesting to me. It's just because something about the way I am is making you behave not that way.
Yeah, no.
When that might have just been naturally more who you are.
Yeah, it's true.
You were a little girl who ran around singing about diarrhea.
Totally.
And just like, you're that person in your friend group. Not necessarily the gross person, but like
unfiltered.
Unfiltered and unfazed.
Unfiltered and unfazed, yeah.
What could somebody do or bring up around you that would fucking rock your boat? Nothing. Unless I farted.
No, I don't like.
You'd be a deer in the headlights.
I'd be like, what? No.
What the fuck?
No, sometimes I don't like when you burp, but you always apologize for it. I'm like, it's okay, but I don't like when people projectile burp, like as if they're like trying to get it in your face, and you're just like, please don't do that.
I never really thought about how disgusting it was until you started pointing it out to me, and I was like, that is fucking gross. So now it's so funny. Like, I'll let out like the tiniest little burp, and
you'll be like, I'm so sorry, Cass.
But it's funny to me. It's like kind of an ongoing bit that you never call out. I'll go so over the top. I'll be like, Cass, I need to talk to you about something right now. And I need you to know that I'm sincere. I am so sorry that I just allowed that to happen in front of you. That one is completely on me. There's no one else to blame. There's nowhere else.
Okay, I love that as a bit, because I totally am like,
yes. You didn't realize I'm fucking around?
I didn't. I was like, wow, he's so considerate. Because I told you like once, I'm like, oh, that's gross. I don't like that. And every time since, you've been like overly apologetic. And I'm like, Sean, it's really not a big deal. I really don't care. That was disgusting.
That was not right. And that shouldn't have come out in front of you. But in a way, I'm being real. But it's like, in a way, I'm so committed to the bit that each time I amplify it more to see if you'll notice. And you never do.
Well, I say it's not a big deal.
You're like, oh, I don't care. And I'm like, no. Slow down. You do. And so do I. And that was not right.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I do appreciate it.
I think it's good practice to make mountains out of molehills when it's like non-consequential stuff. So you kind of feel what that feels like.
Oh, you're also like, Sean, you're like, Cass, I apologize to you all the time.
Yeah.
I'm always saying I'm sorry to you.
Yeah, exactly. So if I'm not, I must be right. Because I'm always like being profusely apologetic, like about burping or whatever. It's pretty twisted.
That's funny. I like it.
It's pretty twisted territory.
Mm.
But yeah, I read a quote that I texted myself. Let me get distracted for a second.
Well, I'll say I don't shave my legs as much as I did when we were first dating, because I'm like, now I'm like, instead of giving you like somewhat smooth legs every day, I'm going to give you the smoothest legs you've ever felt like once a week. Because you
Yeah.
really do need to like exfoliate, let the hair grow out in order to get that like super
No,
smooth.
I know you've taught me that.
So I'm like, all right, are we going to do like a little bumpy, razor burny,
We
not
going
hair?
Rocky Road
Are we
or
going Rocky Road or are we going like once a week Krispy Kreme, you know? Or
back at it again at the Krispy Kreme? I don't mind a Krispy Kreme. Like, what would the fuck would some of these girls we've dated? I'm like, what are they doing? Like, how is this possible?
they've gotten it lasered, and you're like, that's a treat. And sometimes I think,
It really is.
as someone
It is.
who has appreciated a smooth woman, I'm like, damn, I would, if I was a good girlfriend, I would really give this to Sean. But I just like, it's not for me.
What you might have to go through.
I might have to go to laser treatments and pay
No,
money and
it's
do the
not
whole
worth
thing.
It's well, as I'm saying, it's not worth it. You're like, it's worth it.
It's worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
I've fully
experienced it.
experienced it and been like, this is amazing. God bless this woman.
It's
And
embedded
all that
in
she
your,
went through
It's like
to bring me smooth everything.
yeah, it's
And
like,
I love it.
It's deeply embedded in your like attraction towards women. Yeah, in general.
Yeah, they're so soft
is
and
like
smooth.
is like these couple of women that have like lasered themselves and presented themselves to us. It's just like,
Like,
whoa, damn,
wow, next level.
not required at all, not necessary or whatever.
I mean, I'm not doing it.
no, and it's like we don't even want to open that can of worms, like to the point where it's
But
just like I don't care, I
I
don't
don't
give a
care.
fuck. But when somebody does that, you're just like,
It's appreciated.
Right.
And you're
That's
just
pretty
like,
cool.
I have so much appreciated that I'm like, you think that as someone who appreciates it, I would offer that to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, nah.
Well, you offer it to me when it's consequential, when you're trying to pull me into your web,
Yeah.
and it worked.
Yeah, at the beginning.
It worked.
I always like to think that when we first got together that I like gave you the worst of me. And I think in some ways I did on an emotional level. Like in
I
a
just showed up at
psychological
your house at 10 a.m. every day, and you were like, "Are you ready to fuck me all day? I'm perfect." And then I would leave. I mean, how is that the worst of you?
No, but I feel like I was the personality stuff. Like I feel like I showed you the dark sides of my personality. Like I didn't sugarcoat my personality. I didn't try to pretend to be someone that I wasn't in order to get you in my web. Like I never you knew who I was from the beginning.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? And I think you have
it was
to do that.
refreshing. There was no games. There was no artifice. There was nothing put on.
Well, you have to, because otherwise you end up with someone who doesn't even fucking know you, and you're like, I want you to love the worst of me. Otherwise, what's that? All the girls love saying, if you can't handle the worst of me, you don't deserve the best of me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like within reason,
Yeah.
because like the worst of some bitches is like really bad, and it's like no one deserves that.
I think
Same
really,
with guys.
I think really the more like when I pat myself on the back for like, yeah, you got through that with Cass, came years later when we introduced psychedelics. That was like hitting reset on your.
Oh, where I was an anxious mess.
It was just like hitting reset on like all the tools you had, accomplished in your life until that point. Kind of just like started from zero again. And I was looking at someone who
Was a puddle.
it's the opposite of a person that you're drinking with, where we know it all, blah blah blah. And now I'm dealing with a person who looks very confused.
Yeah.
And they're very confused, and they're taking that into our day to day. And there's anxiety, and there's pressures building up because like we're good at what we're doing, and people are noticing it, and movies are coming out, and like now you're a thing, and now we're a thing, and we're on a big stage. And psychedelics are in here, and it just felt like there was a couple years there where that was more of the trying. Like, they're like, Cass, what the
No,
fuck?
I know.
Where are you?
Well, sometimes I've gotten to a place where I can like be very present with people, and I want that from people I'm with. So I'm like, damn, I should dose them, because
yeah.
I got out of my head by like going so into my head.
Yeah, that you're like, oh, it's not worth it.
It's not worth whatever you think is up there that's worth you listening to. And
Yeah. Fuck these jungles. Why am I going into these jungles?
Yeah, you gotta-
There's gorillas in there. Both kinds. There's tunnels. There's everything. Why am I fucking going in there?
But but then sometimes I think like, damn, this person, I can't get them to be present with me. Maybe they would benefit from a big dose. And I'm like, then I think back to the puddle of person I became when I first started doing this, and I'm like, nah, it's not my trip. If they ever come to it, by all means, they should do whatever they want. But
yeah, we could sit here and confidently talk about taking drugs 10, 12 years later, but like, fucking Jesus Christ, what it does to you when you first get into this stuff. If you're devotional the way we are, which I guess you'd call
Well, it could be
some would
like
call us drug addicts, but I just think we're
no,
devotional.
no. You could not call if you knew our habits, you would not call us drug addicts.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Sean, if you consider weed a drug.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess then you are degenerate by all. But yeah. Anyway, okay. Were you looking up something on your phone?
Oh, yeah. I was just gonna read a little Bertrand Russell quote that I found from 1910. Only on the firm foundation of unyielding despair can the soul's habitation henceforth be safely built.
Say that again.
Only on the firm foundation of unyielding despair can the soul's habitation henceforth be safely built.
Oh, I love that.
Doesn't that
That's
it's
exactly
funny. I
what we're
pulled this
talking
out to say that quote, and it wouldn't have made any sense if I would have said it a couple minutes ago, and then we started talking about this stuff, and now it makes sense to me. So there you go.
Say it one more time.
Only on the firm foundation of unyielding despair, which we've tapped into,
Yes.
which is what we're talking about, can the soul's habitation henceforth be safely built.
You're like, I have no other choice but to water this garden.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like, what the hell is life? Okay, well, I can either look at how I can either look around in despair or start planting seeds.
Your life wasn't filled with despair until you took a drug that made you feel the void.
Yeah.
And my life was a void of despair
until
I took this drug. And I was like, oh, I actually something that can relate with me. Let's go. Let's fucking do this. All right.
Totally. No, I was like, I remember being like, how could you be so calm? Like everything is like melting away before my eyes. Like
try losing people.
You being so calm through these first initial psychedelic trips really made me feel like I'm not in on the joke. Like there's no way. Like the fact that I was so lost compared to you being so calm made me even feel more lost because I was like, oh, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
I'm really a confused person who's lost here.
It also,
and I don't know what's going on, and somehow he does, and I don't know how that happened.
I don't know what's going on.
But you sure didn't seem that concerned about not knowing what was going on.
I sure don't seem to be concerned about much at all because it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Just be concerned with like your little thing. That's fine.
Yeah.
And look, I need to tell myself that all the time because I hear about a lot of people's problems and shit. Just be concerned about your little thing. I think there's a way to like kind of like listen and not absorb. I'm just like trying to teach myself these lessons now. But I didn't know anything you didn't know. I think that basically I had experienced more of life because I'm 7 years older than you. So like I'm 33 past my Saturn return, past probably what were going to be the hardest moments of my life for a while. With losing my sister, my dad's issues, everything, just family stuff. Like, I'm on the other side of that. I had made a bunch of money. I have the most beautiful woman in the world. I have a full bank account. I have people dying to see my next thing. Acid was like here to be like, fuck yeah, dude. Life in the fast lane. Let's do this. And I feel like it kind of brought to you a little bit of like, all that stuff that life had fucking served up to me in like mega doses, like
I was like, oh, this boyfriend I think I have is not even fucking real. So what the fuck is going on here?
Oh, and seeing you look at me like I'm not real, like that was the most terrifying thing to me. Where I'm like, Cass, chill it out. We're just on drugs, like, and you're just looking through me.
I'm just like, you're a funhouse mirror of of me,
so
and I don't even know who I am. But I'm like, I wish that there was something else here besides just a reflection of my bad behavior.
But what would it be? Like, what else? What
are
we waiting for?
Someone to tell me the answers. Someone to tell me what's going on here. Someone to. Fucking...
Aren't you glad you melted all that stuff away when you were younger? Like, aren't you glad that you're not dragging all that baggage into your like late 30s, 40s? You know, and like, look, you'll accumulate more, but. I feel like I always kept saying to you, you're burning out all that little girl shit. It's just little girl shit. And you really did. Like, it's weird because I was saying that as a prayer at the time. and an observation, but it was really more like, I hope you're burning out all this little girl shit right now.
Yeah.
You know, that even like that getting stuck in your head, like, is that like,
Yeah.
it's just like, what are you doing? What are you obsessing about yourself? As opposed to
Anything else?
fucking how awesome life is and how life is and how realistic this feels, even though we know it's a simulation and it's an illusion and we're in some weird holographic reality. But like, isn't it awesome that how real this feels? And you know, like, I was just always, I remember back then, this was like 10 years ago at this point, but just like constantly being like, oh, this is the trip that Cass burned out her little girl's trip, her little girl shit.
And then I'd be back to a little.
You know, you did. I don't know when.
I burned it out little by little.
Yeah, and it also you can't fully just burn it out with drug experiences. You need life to fucking hit you like a freight train, and then it started to a little bit. And I feel like that's when you and I did some growing up together. Is like when we're facing adversity, you know, because how many? I mean, you could go through. We went through years of just being like, everything we do is successful. Everybody wants to be around us. Everything is good, and then like, we had a breakup, not you and I, but we had our first throuple broke up, and someone didn't want to be around us particularly, and we just had to reckon with all of that stuff we had swept under the rug for years. And you're just like, are we not good people? What the fuck is this? Like, what, you know? And that was really more of the psychedelic trip than any particular psychedelic trip for me.
Yeah, no, heartbreak's a big psychedelic one.
Drugs are fun for me. They're fun. They're good fucking time. That's what I go to them for. And sometimes they'll hit you with like the most profound insight that you could take forth and change your life. But most of the time they're not. They're just fun.
They're a little dominatrix.
Yeah, but just enjoy that fun time. That's why you took it. And I think like one of the things that can happen is like you can just get caught on a loop. And a lot of times it has to do with like internalized shame.
Well, I think there was also like a big part and period where I was like, wow, I'm having all these new revelations and I'm not sure what to do with it. And it felt like very disconcerting and like there was no ground to stand on and very like a lot of unknown and not knowing, am I doing the right thing with how I'm starting to understand what life is? Do you know what I mean? Because you're integrating a new way of thinking about life.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not sure how you do that. And you're like, how do I do this? Like, what's the right way to do this?
Well, it's a thing I see people struggling with like a lot lately too. Is like our peers, people our age, just like, I got to figure my life out, and it's just like, oh, what an awful task. Figure your life out. Like I'm pretty sure that's not how life works. I don't think you figure it out ever. I think you kind of ride the wilds and you get used to it. And maybe you can figure out what your next little move might be. But who the fuck are you trying to figure your life out? Get real. Enjoy the ride, motherfucker. Like, because it's like, while you're trying to figure your life out, it's just passing you by.
Yeah.
And you're in your head on a fucking little hamster wheel. And it ain't doing anyone any good. And you're taking away your presence, which is your presence, from other people.
Yeah.
To take on this task of figuring something out that can't be figured out. It's not meant to be figured out. It's meant to be experienced.
Yeah. No, it's like a math problem you can't solve. So like some people are like, well, I'll figure it out. And then sometimes people burn their ego enough that you're like, oh, okay, yeah.
There's nothing to figure out.
There's nothing to figure out.
Yeah, I'm gonna
just gonna do my best.
I'm gonna do my best at being Sean. Like, what is Sean good at? It's pretty obvious what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. Let's do more of the things I'm good at and less of the things I'm not good at. Try to become a better person.
Who do you want to be? What do you want to be?
I just think these huge questions are also an invitation for huge insecurities, because I think that's really deep down in most people's operating systems is a lot of internalized shame. So when that's there and you start being like, oh, well, I got to figure my life out, eventually those two are going to meet. And you're figuring your life out through a lens of shame.
Mm-hmm.
And why are you trying to figure your life out? Why aren't you just trying to experience less shame and less anxiety and less depression And, and like just dialing in how moments of presence feel for you instead of taking on this thing. It's like,
Well,
I just hate to tell people, maybe people that haven't lost young people in their life, it's not promised.
mm-hmm.
So this thing you're trying to figure out could be gone tomorrow. Why don't you just figure out how to be here right now with your friends who are here and they're listening to you try to figure your life out, young lady. We're listening to you try to figure your life out. You know it would be a lot more fun? You're not trying to figure it out and we are all dancing and hanging out together. You know?
Just being in your life, enjoying your
Be
life.
in your life. Be in your life. It's,
Willie Nelson, I saw a little video. Because you handed me your phone or whatever yesterday, and I was like,
you don't have all the apps I have.
I don't have all the apps.
So I hand my phone to show you
I'm
a cute little
I'm like
girl getting kicked in the face in
I'm
a
like a
mosh pit,
toddler.
and you're on there for an hour, like holy shit.
Yeah, like a toddler, you hand your phone to, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm so happy. But there was like Willie Nelson, and it made me think of your dad or whatever. But he was just like, all the worrying will give you cancer, so just don't do it.
That's why you smoke weed so much. That's
worry never helped anything, so just don't do it. It just gives you cancer. Don't do it.
Yeah.
He was just like very matter of fact about it. Just like, just don't do it. Doesn't make anything better. Don't do it.
You know what also doesn't make anything better? You telling that to a person that holds on to all that stuff. It doesn't work. It doesn't. That's where dosing a motherfucker comes in. Where it's just like, there's nothing. It's inappropriate for me to tell you that all this shit you're fixated on isn't helping you.
Right.
That's inappropriate. Like, you're going to have to figure that out on your own. Maybe this mushroom could help. Let's switch over to the Patreon.
All right, cool.
Patreon.com/churchofchill. We're going to go talk more on there, but there's also, come join our film club. We've been doing it steady every Monday night, and people come and go, and I think it's a really, really, really worthwhile thing if you dig the movie that we're watching that week, to come and listen to other people talk about it and join in, because it's just like totally made me a better appreciator of things in general, not just films. So join our film club. It's all through patreon.com/churchofchill, and then our music episodes are on there. Firing on all cylinders. So get while the getting's good with us. And we'll see you on the other side, y'all. Peace, love, and magic.